Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into the first podcast. I do want to bring up something right before the podcast gets started, and that is the fact that this podcast is called It's Never Chalked with Chevy. I recently announced earlier in the week the podcast, but I didn't mention it at the beginning, and I just wanted to throw that in there before we get started. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first podcast. I'm very excited to announce this and be able to upload this. Joining me today is Axtiive, aka Roy, aka
Yes, sir.
Rogelio Marquez.
Hey,
Roy, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
what's up, guys? I'm one of the owners of Azure alongside Chevy. I mean, you guys can call me Roy because a lot of people tend to butcher my name, Axtiive, no matter how long they know me for. And that's pretty much it. I guess we can get started with this podcast.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. But I guess a little bit to introduce myself if you are new to the channel. Name's Chevy. First name's Cole, if you want to call me that. But I do go by Chevy around the community. I have been in the community for very long time, it seems like. And I am one of three owners of Azure Allegiance, and we're looking forward to going far with that. We will talk about that a little bit more later in the podcast. But before we jump into it, I would like to give a shout out to I Drop Noobs and Baby Nut. Yeah, very funny names. I met them on Call of Duty and told them about this podcast, and they wanted a shout out. So they're very supportive, and there it is. So, some of the topics we will be covering during this podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about the coronavirus. Yes, I know you don't want to hear about this, but we're going to talk a little bit about it. Another big point is we're going to talk about how the coronavirus has affected esports as a whole, and then the future of Azure. I'm really excited to be able to talk about that as well with Roy. We can give a lot of valuable information, and I'm sure
Yes,
throughout
sir.
this we'll get off topic, but we do have a list right here in front of us, and we will just hop right into it. So, talk about the coronavirus, just kind of go back and forth with it.
Yep.
Where it started, I mean, I think we all know that it started in China. There's all sorts
And
of
Wuhan.
fun conspiracies, and yeah, in Wuhan, or however you say it, I believe it's Wuhan.
Yeah,
Um,
Wuhan. Yeah.
and you know, people eating weird things, and it
Yeah, it is.
happened. There's conspiracies saying it was created in a lab.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
mean,
so I
I don't
know
even know.
specifically that one. That's the one I heard the most. Is that it was from what I know. Well, from what I know, from what I've seen, is that it was created in the lab. The market from where they discovered it from was a couple of miles away from the lab, supposedly. Um, that lab specifically holds all types of diseases, I guess, from where the scientists are starting, I guess, cures for the future, things like that. And so the conspiracy theory is that China somehow, I guess, because the country's overpopulated, um, they released that. The scientists, I guess, supposedly took it to that market to start the spread or something like that. So that's the conspiracy theory, at least from what people are saying.
Yeah,
Just because, I
no,
mean,
I
it
mean it's
makes it a
crazy.
little sense. Yeah, it makes it a little sense just because of the distance between where the markets, where it started, and then where the lab is, which is really isn't that far.
Exactly. No, it's all crazy. I mean, everybody has their own conspiracies. I mean, the World Health Organization came out and said that this can't be you can't contract it. This can't be
Yeah,
carried human to human, and here we are. It's I'm sure by the time this video gets uploaded, it's gonna be even worse. We're recording this on a Wednesday morning at 2 a.m. And this goes live today, so there's no telling what happens within the next couple days.
yeah,
But hopefully, there's some positives coming soon. I'm sure everybody struggles with viruses in general, and this is huge. This is something we'll remember forever.
yeah,
Um, it's just crazy, but where we are now, um, is crazy. I mean, the United States, there's select counties, select states overall doing this, going
yeah,
on these quarantines, going on these social distancing. You can only be out of your house for a certain amount of time. You can only go for certain things such as work, to get food,
and yeah,
uh, necessities. It's too much.
yeah.
But I guess we can talk about how it's affected daily life for
Expected.
both of us.
Yeah, expect.
We can start with you.
Yeah, for the most part, like here in like you were talking about, like select counties and states are going into lockdown. Like here in California, specifically Los Angeles, they just stepped it up not 2 or a day ago. Um, people were still hanging out in beaches in groups. I don't know if there was another. I think in states too, like in Florida, we're still doing this where they were like you see a bunch of people on the beaches still hanging out for some reason.
Hmm.
Um, just because from what people said, the regulations here that they put in Los Angeles, you were able to do your necessities, which is go to the market and then go for medicine. If you have to go to the pharmacy or if you have a doctor's appointment, things like that. Um, they also put you can go out and have exercise, which is a little bit weird. Um, they put the that 6 feet distancing thing,
Hmm. Yeah.
into place. But supposedly the mayor from Los Angeles was going out in one of the parks right here, by my house, and he was taking a jog and he saw Angelinos hanging around together, and he went up to them, and he told them they have to distance themselves. And apparently he's been noticing it, and he's been getting a lot of reports from people around the city that are still like hanging around, just like in groups. Um, so they put a lot. Well, technically they're stepping it up to the point where if they see you in groups or the police sees you in groups, they can charge you with the misdemeanor, and you know basically get in trouble just for hanging around with your friends or hanging around just in general like that. If you're not following the 6 feet thing,
Hmm. I mean,
it's pretty crazy.
it's gotten super serious. I mean, this past weekend I was up at a buddy's house and hanging out and whatnot, and his dad comes out and talks to us. And for the particular county that we were in, you will
Yeah,
get a ticket if you are in groups over 10. Now, Texas right now, the 6 feet
Jesus.
stuff's a little weird. Like
Yeah,
certain counties, like it's all scrambled, right? And
yeah.
just it's just crazy how it's affecting
I
everybody. But I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's that's the problem, to be honest. Like, if you really can't just follow this 30-day quarantine, like, I mean, it's not that hard. Just stay inside your house, go
Hmm.
do what you have to do, your business. Everyone has
Yeah,
shit to do. Just follow the law, dude. It's just 30 days. We're not asking you to stay in for a year long. Um,
exactly.
I'm pretty sure if people listen for those 30 days, things would get a lot better. Everything will slow down, while everyone, I guess, the WHO was able to come up with a cure or any other county or
Hmm.
something like that. Um, that's what I'm hearing right now is that they're actually testing on people cures.
Yeah.
It's a vaccine that they've come up with. Um, yeah, dude. I mean, it's just getting crazy. It's just I don't know why people just don't want to listen, dude. I mean, it's like the mayor was saying here in Los Angeles. It's not about you. It's just about everyone else around you who you can affect. If you are infected with this virus, how many people you can just ruin technically. It's just a lot of people, older people, are just dying like crazy because of this.
Yeah, it
It's,
doesn't affect, well, I mean, it's affecting the younger population, obviously. You can be a carrier
yeah,
of that, but what people don't know is, the death rate is very high when it comes down to people over 60, over 70, especially in their
yeah,
80s. It's doing really bad damage. And you can be a carrier of that. If you're younger, you can recover. You have a really high success chance of
yeah.
recovering from it. Um, but if you pass it to your grandparents, not knowing, something
That's
fatally could happen, and
yeah,
it sucks. It's really bad. Um, but I mean, how it's affected my life. For those that don't know, I do go to college out in East Texas, and we had just gone on spring break, and we get an email, Thursday before coming back, following Monday, saying, "Hey, we're gonna not go back to school for another 2 weeks, but we will go to online classes." Here recently, we have just received another notice that we will not be going back to school, except to pack up our dorms. So I
yeah.
am at the moment just doing online classes, which is really weird. But I have taken online classes before, whether that be like over summer or a dual credit within high school. So it's good for me. But for those kids that went to university and haven't taken online classes, they might be put at a disadvantage, which kind of sucks. But thankfully for me, I've done this before, um, just not under these rules. Um, but toilet paper, man, toilet paper's kind of gone crazy, huh?
Tell me about it, dude. I'm telling you, I remember how I texted you that one time where I went to the store and people were just like stockpiling on toilet paper like crazy. It's I don't know, dude.
It's
It's hilarious. Like that's what people are saying, especially like the Hispanic race, where I've seen the joke go on around. It's like it doesn't give
uh-huh.
you diarrhea. Like you don't get stomach aches at all from this. You know, you get a
Hmm.
cough. You can't breathe normally, but there's no diarrhea symptoms. There's literally no stomach pain. So why are you stocking up on so much toilet paper? You know,
Yeah,
it
just think
doesn't make
people are a
sense.
little freaked out about it. Yeah. No, I mean, if you buy all the toilet paper, people start buying baby wipes. People
Yeah,
that
and
have
then
babies, well, what are they supposed to use? People don't
exactly.
think about the butterfly effect of doing something like that.
Yeah,
I think people overreact. I think they freak out way too much. If we would just be civil about it, which I know is not gonna happen just because of the culture we live in,
yeah.
um,
I
I
I've
just I
personally
just don't
seen
get it.
where me and my girlfriend went to the market, right? And so people are obviously snatching everything, juices and all that stuff. We got milk or whatever, you know, but you know how there's like different milks, 2% whole milk and all that stuff. Um,
Yes.
there's people usually get 2%, and I don't know if in your markets or whatever where they have the fridges, but you can see in the back storages, and they have like milk like piled up in the back.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
like the back storage area. Yeah, I know what you're
yeah,
talking about.
I've seen people like push the stuff out of the way so they inside that back compartment and just take them from back there instead of
Jesus.
actually waiting people to stock up. They just go inside the back and just help themselves and take everything they need.
Good Lord.
Yeah,
I just I just think people are just a little too over the top. I mean, I
yeah,
don't know how else to explain it. But I mean, we'll recover. I guess another point I want to bring up, while we're talking about just the virus itself is, how it's affecting people that have mental health issues. I know for some people, getting out of the house and even going to a job. I mean, even if the job sucks, you're getting out of your house. Dealing with mental health issues and being isolated into your house it's not something you want to go through.
yeah,
Um, I just know there's a lot of people out there struggling with it, and the sooner we can, get out of this, this just terrible period, the sooner people can start feeling good again. Stock market can
yeah,
go back up, economy can go back up. I know gas prices are cheap right now, at least in Texas,
yeah,
but we can't do anything. The oil market's crashed. It's nothing's good.
yeah,
But as for content creators, you can have all the fun in the world. There's a lot of people watching right now, so take
yeah,
that advice
exactly,
and upload as much content as you can.
exactly. Like
Uh,
I think I mentioned to you once where I don't know what guy tweeted it out where he said all streamers take advantage of this time because this is the time where you would have your at least your viewership should be going up now. People are staying home and have literally nothing else to do but
hmm
watch people stream. Yeah. But it's like mostly just taking advantage of the time, whether it sounds messed up or not, but a lot of people tend to do it, whether they like to
Yeah.
admit it.
Well, I mean, I guess we can talk into how this virus has affected just esports and gaming as a whole. I guess we'll
Yeah.
start off with the fact that OWL, that's the Overwatch League, their LAN events, their homestands have been canceled. Along with that, as expected, CDL, their homestands have been canceled in their first year as an official league, which is crazy because the league's done
Yeah.
very good so far. So OWL and the CDL have moved to an online format, and I know everybody's very eager to see how that works. We have the Dallas Empire homestand coming up this weekend, and I don't know what to expect. I mean, do you know? Like, are people gonna have an advantage, or is there gonna be
Yeah.
MLG refs or whatever it may be at their
It's
house? I just don't know.
it, I think a lot of people are gonna say, it's unfair just because based off where people's internet are better. I think in Texas you guys have like crazy good internet, and then like in other
Hmm.
areas they're like really, really messed up. I think that's where all that's gonna play in. People are gonna be you see how a lot of people all of a sudden started mentioning certain teams like Rocker or something like that are just gonna like
Yeah.
destroy the competition because of
Uh huh.
their, I guess, internet, or they're better online than they are on LAN.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
think that's
Rocker's
just, I mean, they're a
they're a
good
good
team,
team. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're a good team.
but
I mean, I think they're fourth place at the moment, fourth or fifth. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure they're
yeah,
fourth.
I that'll just um that'll get to the point where it'll kind of ruin the league I mean, whether people are still playing the games or not, one, because all these organizations lost on so much money, paying $25 million just because of this virus kind of ruins all their investment that they put into the league.
Hmm.
And then two, you know, they have to play online, your game can crash at any moment while you're playing, and it's happening recently where Xbox breaks down. PS4, I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not that I'm hating on PS4, but I mean they're pretty pretty shitty online,
Yeah.
Um, this is gonna be horrible. I feel like it's just gonna happen at least once or twice where someone's game's gonna crash midway into the fucking tournament.
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, Rocker is. I pulled up the standings here, and they are in fourth place. I mean,
Yeah,
I felt like they could
they're,
have won at the LA homestand. They did pretty
yeah,
well. Um, but I do feel like certain teams going into this online homestand of Dallas, um, there is going to be an advantage there for these younger players that are not used to playing in big atmospheres, and
yeah,
they can do well.
online.
Online, exactly.
Yeah,
And some people say, well, the pros have been doing it for years. Why won't they do just as good? I'm not saying that won't happen. Maybe, I just think there's going to be some surprises come this weekend.
yeah. I
I
think
don't know. It's really interesting.
Yeah,
But yeah,
like I
I don't
think
know.
right now the top two teams that I'm hearing online are the best so far are the Gorillas and Rocker.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's up in the air, We'll see, you know. I mean, we could be wrong. The same teams that are on top right now can remain on top, or I mean, like you
Yep.
said, these online advantages that people are gonna get. Or-
Your team is OGLA. You like Chicago just for the instance that that's Hex's team, man. That's Hex's team.
Yes, sir.
But for a lot of ex Optic fans, it is hard. I mean, there are those players, well, not players, but just people in general that are ex Optic fans that just hate fake Optic, slashes Optic,
Optic.
whatever you want to
Yeah,
say. But I mean, even I look at that brand, and it's still hard for me to hate, even through all the triumph and
yeah.
everything that happened with the Optic J mess and the selling to whoever it was. Was it? I can't even remember who it was that bought them out. Do you remember?
Um, Immortals. Immortals. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was Immortals Gaming Club or something like that. And then when that happened, Outlaws went
yeah.
away, and the best Gears of War team in the world went away, and
Yeah, now they're just being, from what I'm hearing. I mean, what I told you, that Gears of War team's just getting tossed around everywhere. They
hmm
went to NRG after following Hex, and then they got released from
hmm
NRG. They went to UYU, and now um, some players left, and they kept some of them, and they replaced them. So that for me, in my opinion, the best Gears of War team that ever touched the game has been split up, and now they're just another Gears of War team.
Yeah, no, it sucked. They were a part of a smaller organization following Immortals buying out
Oh,
Optic.
that's right. They were
I can't remember what the name
Talks.
was, but
It was
yeah.
Talks
Oh yeah,
Gaming,
it
I
was
think.
Talks or something like.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
they
Yeah,
went off to
that
win one
makes sense now.
championship for them, I think.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think they won one tournament. I mean, they went to NRG for a little bit, and Hex comes up there after his split from OG,
Top
and
three. Yeah.
then they're gone. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, my personal teams are Chicago Huntsman, praise Hex, praise that whole roster, love Scump's the king, yada yada
Yeah.
yada. T2P's back, RCD's the goat, Envoy's freaking disgusting, and Gunless clutches it up. I mean, he's
Yeah.
I think that whole roster's been pretty consistent. Um, Besides Atlanta, I mean, they just weren't clicking. You're not going to click every weekend,
No,
regardless if
exactly.
you're the best roster in the world. No roster. You just, nobody's been that consistent yet. There's dynasties. We can talk about dynasties all day,
Yeah.
but you lose some events. But yeah, I mean, Chicago, love them. Dallas is another one of my teams just for the sole purpose that I'm from the Dallas area. And I like Krim. I mean, I know Chicago's 3-0'd them, and that's awesome because when it comes down to Chicago versus Dallas, I'm Chicago, but when they're separate, I root for both. Um, I don't know. I'm really excited to see how this weekend pans out. But I mean,
Yeah.
I guess we can talk about some projections, going into this weekend. Like, who do we think's gonna like stand out? Who do we think's gonna fall because
Who?
of this? I mean, who do you think's that like who do you think's winning the whole thing?
What do you mean? As in the whole CDL overall,
No, the
or just this
this
weekend?
online Dallas homestand this weekend.
Who's playing in that?
I can pull it up here. I know Chicago's there. I mean, obviously Dallas is there. Um, let's see. Their whole website's messed up because of this virus. They've like they've like removed everything and like switched it around. Um,
Jesus.
let me see. I looked it up here. Should tell me the teams right here.
Okay. OGLA, Chicago,
Yeah, yeah, I got
Rocker,
them too. You're good.
um, Toronto Ultra, and Atlanta. Wow. Okay. So the top teams, except for OGLA.
Correct. Yeah.
Um, and OGLA's logo is upside down for some reason. That's horrible.
On the
Um,
website.
yeah. No, this is
Jesus.
upside down. Um, I see Chicago winning, second place Dallas or FaZe. And I hope if they fix it and they keep playing how they played in LA, OG LA
Hmm.
coming fourth place. But I think Chicago winning first, no doubt. I don't see them going lower.
Did you say something about FaZe?
Yeah,
I don't think FaZe is supposed to be at Dallas.
really? They pop up right here. April
Yeah, no,
11th.
because I saw on
Wait, never mind.
yeah, no, the Dallas homestands March, yeah, this March 28th, 29th. We have Group A that has Dallas Empire, Florida Mutineers, Toronto Ultra, LA Gorillas. Group B has the Chicago Huntsmen, Minnesota Rocker, Paris Legion, and Seattle Surge. I remember them talking about that. The Break Time Boys were
Yeah,
talking about that on their podcast. I listened to them after the CDL events, but everything's been so scrambled. I'm sure everybody's content's messed up. Um,
yeah.
and they were talking about that. We didn't get the Chicago versus Atlanta match in Atlanta just because Chicago just had an off series. I mean they had an off weekend in general.
Yeah.
Um, and then you go to LA and Atlanta's there and Atlanta doesn't go to the finals, but Chicago's not there. Now we're at Dallas and Atlanta's not there, but Chicago is. We have the whole Chicago Dallas rivalry, but I mean, yeah, it's a rivalry,
They're
but
not. They're
it's
not
not as
getting the
hyped.
play. Yeah, yeah. I
Um,
feel that.
but I mean, this weekend, who I expect maybe as the shocking team, if there is a shock, I don't know, man. It's all down to internet, and I don't know exactly where if these teams are playing from their hometown.
Yeah, the
Um,
facilities. I
I
think.
mean, I know Paris obviously isn't. I'm pretty sure they've flown over, because that just wouldn't work, obviously.
Oh yeah,
Um,
because that's just completely unfair. Whoever's hosting that.
exactly. But I see, most of the Huntsmen are in Dallas, besides Formal being out in LA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, I don't
I
know
don't know,
who I
dude.
would
It's
pick
just
as the shocking team. Maybe LA Gorillas. I mean, they choked. I think they got reverse swept twice. They almost popped off. That's still a new roster. They were put together the week before the LA homestand, and they did
yeah,
pretty well. From what I saw, they just couldn't close out their matches, in those final three games of the best of five. So I don't know.
yeah.
I see Chicago
I
winning it, obviously, but I don't know.
yeah, I think too. Honestly, Chicago's gonna take it all. Just based off that fact too, that most of them are in Dallas. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
Form will just fly over if he can.
yeah, if you can.
Um, yeah, I don't see Chicago losing this.
I don't
To
either.
be honest, they're
I don't
just
either.
complete monsters. They're just on another level.
If exactly. I see them coming back and just destroying. I mean, after that last series or that
Yeah,
last, at the Atlanta homestand. But if I had to rank these one through, I believe it's eight, I give first place to Chicago, second place Dallas. Down the line, I'd probably go Rocker, and then I'd take Gorillas over the Mutineers. I don't know that the whole roster's messed up with Pristini being out now, and he's actually out now. Like this isn't his choice. He
Yeah,
posted on Twitter the
they
other day. This
they
it's not his
they
choice.
took him out. Yeah,
I would
that's
like to
crazy
see
to be honest.
Seattle top three. That was a team I had in my top three before the CDL started.
Yeah,
Um, that's a great roster, especially having the lab partners back together, having Octane and Pander with them. Um, and I'm just an Octane fan. That dude is filthy. He's the best AR in the
yes,
game, and I will stand by that. Um, you know, I was a Hunter Thieves fan last year. It sucked they didn't win champs, but they made one hell of a run um, at champs. I mean, that reverse sweep against FaZe was I I don't know.
oh
I
yeah,
could sit here and talk about it. It was disgusting. But no, I mean, I think we both agree we see Chicago going first.
yep,
Second could be Dallas, could be Rocker. I'm hoping Dallas, but we don't know. I see the shocking team coming out of this, the underdog or whoever it may be, being the LA Gorillas. I don't see Paris Legion doing too much. I feel like Toronto is still kind of iffy, and I see the Mutineers being kind of iffy as well, just with this whole roster change up. I mean, Pharaoh is a really good player. Don't get me wrong, um,
yeah.
but I don't know. I really don't know.
It,
But hmm. I guess another point to bring up is, you know, small point, but this whole virus affecting, the gaming development, new games coming out. I mean, I've heard reports that Call of Duty may be pushed back this year
which is
because of
gonna
it,
suck.
which would really suck. I mean, we got a pretty early COD this past year. I think it came out October 12th for 2019, which is pretty early.
Yeah,
I could be wrong on that. But having an early October game was great. Early beta, great. Um, Game's been okay. I
yeah. It's
More of a
not bad. It
sniper,
really
but
isn't, to be honest. Yeah, I
yeah,
think
it's not a
that's the
terrible
only
game.
problem.
It's a good pub stomping game.
Yeah,
SBMM is terrible. If y'all don't know that, that's skill based matchmaking. So instead of destroying kids every once in a while or getting destroyed, you play against people just like you, and it sucks a lot. Nobody likes it.
yeah,
If we wanted ranked play, give us a ranked play system. Don't
yeah.
make it for the whole game.
It it's not a bad game, like you were saying. Me and you pretty much sniped from like every Call of Duty until now. Just because this game is kind of horrible. I told you in the beginning, this game I can't snipe on, and I really doubt I ever will. I mean, I'll do it once in a
Hmm.
while, just for the giggles. But I really don't. To be honest, I haven't even touched it. I've just been pub stomping every single game. I find it a lot more fun doing that. Except sniping. I think sniping, I just get really frustrated and stop playing the game in general.
Yeah, I mean, I can hit my shots, but good lord, I mean, unless you're just a crazy sniper. I mean, there's some gifted people out there, and I'm not as gifted
Yeah.
as most, but I can pop a triple real quick, but it's fine in fourth and fifth, and the spawns are just crazy in this game
Yeah,
at this
that
point
too.
still. I mean, I don't know. Infinity Ward is not my friend and hasn't been for a long time, but
Yeah.
I guess we can transfer on into Azure, man. I think we're close to the close to the 30-minute mark, and I know we said 10 to 20 minutes, but
Yeah.
we knew that we'd sit here and chat and have fun with it,
And
and I think that's all that
yes, sir.
matters. But I mean, we can talk about some goals. I mean, I know in our owner video that we posted, we talked about a little bit of the goals we had set in place. But I guess from my
Yeah.
perspective, it's booming content. It's maybe venturing into esports. We do have that Warzone squad now, which is kind of our
Yeah.
first step into esports. We've both worked in esports before. It's not
Yep.
uncharted territory. We just wanted to go with content. But I mean, I
Yeah.
guess from your standpoint, I mean, what are a few goals that you have in mind with Azure?
I think for the most part, it's just growing a great fan base. To be honest, just having that connection with the people that believe in your brand. Um, you see it in a lot of other organizations, or yeah, like Obey and all that stuff. They post content and people are right there right away supporting them. whether they're grinding for it or it's just genuine support for the team. I think that's just my goal. It's just to have people like that supporting it. They don't have to be grinding. They don't, they don't even have to be affiliated with the team. It's just that genuine support. They'll be there, next time you post a video or anything like that. I think
Exactly.
that's just my goal right now from the beginning. It's just finding those people that are actually genuinely, okay, who care about the brand.
Yeah, no. I think we're starting to find our niche within this community.
Yeah,
Here recently, we've had talks, as an ownership staff about, where, it's been a little slow, whether
yeah,
that be the coronavirus or, us just being a small team. We have really high standards, and sometimes just being that young team, regardless of our experience with owning organizations before and running them as a business, we some people just don't want that small platform or want to grow with an organization as well. They just want to be
yeah,
brought into an organization that'll help them and be very beneficial to them. And we've been blessed to find some pretty good content creators thus far.
yeah,
And I'm excited to see what this Warzone squad does. They're looking for a third
yeah.
as of the recording of this podcast. Um, I don't know, they're nasty, man. I watched Reactive on stream earlier, and that dude's filthy, absolute filthy.
Jesus.
Um, I just think his shot is just on. So I'm just excited to see what that Warzone squad does moving forward. I'm really eager to learn more about
Yeah.
them and support them moving forward. Um, Content creation ideas. I mean, we can share a little bit. God, good lord. I know we want to put out an intro video for a team. I mean, there's all sorts of ideas. I mean, personally, content creator. And I have all sorts of ideas for my own brand. I mean, I know
Yeah.
we're trying to, from an Azure standpoint, we're not just gonna be Call of Duty. I know that me and you just
Oh
love
no.
Call of
Yeah.
Duty. But there's gonna be Fortnite. There's gonna be Apex. I mean, it's just whatever's brought to our attention.
I, I've
Fighting
noticed
games
that
community.
I've noticed at this point we don't have anyone actually that plays Fortnite at this moment, which is kind of weird.
Hmm.
Just because, based off the organizations we've had in the past where we mainly focused on the Fortnite side really hard, and now it's just like the only thing we haven't even bothered touching. We've had Apex, um, what else? PUBG,
Yeah.
Call of Duty for the most part,
Yeah,
and
I mean
no
we
Fortnite,
have
which is
what's
weird.
his face? Yeah, no, I mean we haven't really ventured into Fortnite yet. I mean, I know we have Drakes who plays Escape from Tarkov, which I don't know too much
Yeah.
about. I would love to learn more, but again, that's a PC game. I'm a console gamer. I'm not able to play that. Um, I'd love to play CS:GO, but Jesus Christ, I don't have a
Another,
PC.
yeah. Yeah, dude,
Crazy.
it's just, I mean, there's a lot of content ideas we can, come up with sooner or later down the road, especially with
Hmm.
the more content creators we pick up, they have their own ideas that they would want to pitch.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm very eager to just, I don't know, learn about all these new people, man. I'm happy. I'm happy, happy, happy. But I guess we can talk about a little bit about esports under Azure. We did briefly talk about Warzone, and that being kind of our first foot in the door for the Azure brand itself.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, we could talk about Call of Duty, but as of right now, that Challengers League just doesn't look like a smart investment, at least for us as a
that's not
business.
all.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah,
I see
dude.
the Challenger League as a big, I don't know, it's just putting a brand out there. I mean, there's some sweaty teams, don't get me wrong, but I'm
Yeah,
sure you could touch more on that.
yeah. It's like I've mentioned before. I've seen a lot of organizations, invest thousands of dollars into the like challenger leagues. Send people. I mean, what you have to supply jerseys, which is a couple $100. Um, a lot of these players want you to supply flights, maybe a grand or more, and then you still gotta get their Airbnb or hotels. Um, team passes with what it'll run you up at least a couple $1,000. Um,
Exactly.
just for what a lot of amateur leagues complaining about no streams, so you're not getting any type of publicity whatsoever besides the people you're playing against, which I highly doubt some of them won't even want to interact with you, just because you know how toxic the games can be. I've seen it. just like
Yeah.
mad dogging each other, screaming at each other. Um, so you're not. I honestly don't see any gain out of it. I mean, yeah, you get the experience. You know, you get to go and support your team in person if you can go, or just send your team. But at this point, it's just not. It's not viable. It's not. There's no really any point, at least for me. You know, if there's no streams or anything, at this point, even the finals for Challengers League, I think they were gonna play them on the main stage, but they took it off, and they were gonna play on stream actually too, but they took it off, and then they put the what is that called? That little section that they do in the CDL now, every every homestand, where they invite a celebrity or
Oh.
something like that, or
Oh,
yeah, they did it with
yeah,
Michael B.
you're
Jordan. I
talking
forgot what it's called.
about, yeah, I can't remember. The hype shows?
Yeah, there you go. They kicked
Yeah.
out the Challenger League's final, and they put the hype show or the hype thing or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a lot of people complained about that hype show just kind of being a waste of time. And I mean, I'm not saying it's a
I don't
waste of
see it as a
time,
waste of
but
time.
I feel like instead of having a hype show, they should have that open bracket finals on main
Yeah.
stage. Um,
Well, that's what they did
it would
for
just be better.
CWL, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, CWL always had the open bracket finals. I mean, I'm eager
On
to learn
main
how
stage.
champs works this year, you know. Are
Yeah.
there going to be challenger teams that get into that? I mean, with there being pro teams and them having paid $25 million,
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
I mean, I can see why, it's just it's cool, they supplied a whole like league dedicated for the amateurs, but I mean, compare those couple $1,000s to the $25 million that every organization paid. I mean,
mhm,
it's obvious that they're gonna supply the pro teams with whatever they want, main stage, everything, the streams. Um, I just feel like that's just they kind of about the amateurs, and
yeah,
just kind of deliver the whole league where they have Alpha stream, Bravo stream, Charlie stream, and Delta stream. I
yeah,
feel like that's something they should have kept and brought over to the CDL. I think that would have
yeah,
made it better and more entertaining.
yeah. I mean, it's the first year. I mean, they've done pretty good thus far. Um, and they're listening to the fans a little bit. That third person camera crap they tried doing at the beginning of the year just was not clicking with people. We do have the sky camera, and that's okay.
Yeah,
But I know a
yeah,
lot
that's
of people
fine.
just want that original first
First
person
person.
switch to and making sure that you're switching to the people that are in action or about to make a play. I feel like the fans
Yeah,
miss so much stuff. Um, because the people just aren't watching who's about to make a play, who's going off. I mean, they've done okay, but I feel like they can do better, and I'm sure they'll do better
yeah,
moving forward. And we'll see how this online template of theirs works come this weekend. Um,
yeah.
but Roy, man, do you have any final comments, man, before we wrap this up?
I mean, at this moment, I really don't, to be honest.
Yeah,
I I'm pretty set up, to be honest, after everything we talked about. How long are
yeah.
we in right
I
now?
mean, we're coming up on, let's see, 30 minutes, man. I think 30 minutes. No, 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 no,
Oh,
no,
that's
no.
not
We're
too
coming up
bad.
on 40 minutes, my guy.
Oof.
We're close to 40. We're close to 40, but
15 over.
we'll get there. Yeah, just a little
Yeah, it's
bit.
fine.
Just a little bit. But no, it's been fun, man. I knew we'd talk a little bit more than we should, but
Yeah,
I don't mind it, man. It's a podcast.
yeah,
But um, I know I didn't say this at the beginning, but this podcast is called "It's Never Chalked with Chevy." Um, it's I don't know. It's really fun. I'm gonna have moving forward what's gonna happen with this podcast. I'm obviously gonna look at the analytics of this podcast and see how often I want to upload them. With me being a small content creator, I'm not expecting these podcasts to do super good at the get go. There's a lot of other good podcasts that people would watch. Um, other than me. So these podcasts will usually be 20 to 30 minutes. Our original plan was 10 to 20, but after doing this now, they're going to be 20 to 30 minutes, sometimes run until 40, depending on who I'm talking with. Sometimes we'll have Roy along with me and another person. Sometimes it may not be Roy and it'll be another person. But it's going to be really fun. We'll cover all sorts of topics. It may not necessarily be esports, it may just be IRL things. Um, and I'm sure we'll always talk about Call of Duty because that's just the funnest thing to talk about. Because I'm just very
yeah.
passionate about that. Um, But we'll be picking up people all across the community. Maybe we'll get some bigger people in here at some point. I'm not using the best audio equipment right now. We're recording this off of a Twitch stream from my console. So hopefully we develop this into something more fun and, something we can learn from and just have fun with it overall. But
Yep.
other than that, Roy, man, I appreciate you coming on. It's been fun, man.
Yeah, man.
Well, if you made it thus far, thank you so much for tuning into the podcast. I will update y'all via my socials down below. I will tag our team's YouTube and Twitters and all those fun socials down below. If you want to go check out the team and support us, we would thank you so much if you do. And yeah, guys, it's been Chevy. Thank you so much.